When you go through life, do you have situations where you know you can play bigger? You have those expressions that make you think bigger and bolder? Or you have a test, it's called a boom boom test, and then you know that your heart is beating and you know that's the next thing you should do? Well, these are two mind shifts. I call this mindset. These are two mindset shift that Evan Carmichael has in his book Momentum, and it is something I'm going to talk to you about today. Well, his mindset shift number five goes: you need to create, play bigger trigger words. And what it means is that sometimes you have to have those expressions that make you laugh and move further along where you are at. Here's an example. So, for example, when something is happening to me, one of my word is, well, answer back is, oh, that's excellent. And it brings the idea that, okay, that's great. Now, what's next? I know that Evan Carmichael, one of his good word is, that's the best. And then from there, he moves on. I've been using the word excellent for so many years that it's part of me now. And the beauty of it is that if something happens, it could be a drawback. And then the first thing you hear is excellent. Then it makes you wonder, okay, how come this person is happy? How come somehow it doesn't affect him as much? It keeps us in a solution driven mindset. And I think it works beautifully. Another one that I have that I love to tell myself is also this one. How does it work? So sometimes you do something and you find that you're struggling. You think it's easy. And then instead of getting upset, you say, okay, well, how does it work? And then what happened is you turn your mindset into a learning mindset, in which case you take aside this idea that you should know and get in the mindset that, okay, it is something I don't know yet. Let's see if I can learn it to go further. So how does it work is an excellent expression. Another one that I have is the following. Evan Carmichael says one that he likes, we do hard things, and it's something that I've been starting to use as well, because there's nothing simple. Now, for some, an situation or a way to go through something may be easy for them, but if you take that person back 5 years or 10 years, that person would have struggled as well. So the fact that you are going through situations, that you are failing at what you try, and then you fail forward allows you to build the resilience and the skills to be able to bypass little things that may be annoying, but you can do so. And because you have gone through difficulties, it allows you to get up faster to be able to move forward. Another expression I used to love is the following, and it goes like this: let's think, or let's think about it. I have the same in French when I say, oh, pensons. And the idea here is, okay, there's a situation, you stop, take a deep breath, and then you say, okay, let's think about this. Instead of reacting, let's see if you can gather data, gather observations to see, okay, are you doing the right thing? Or do you need to modify what you're doing so that you can reassess the situation to move forward? I think that is quite important, especially if you're encountering something you haven't encountered before. Now, these are positive trigger words. Now, I have some negative trigger words, and here are some of mine. One is sometimes, oh, I'm tired. And every time I say, I'm tired, I feel my energy go down and I feel like not doing it. Every time that I hear myself say, oh, I'm tired, usually I stop and I go for a little walk around the block. It allows me to re energize myself and then I can go to the next step. Because it's not always positive, but you can find ways to bypass the negative thinking. Another one I tell myself sometimes it is, oh, I'm overwhelmed. That means that when there's too many things on the go and I feel that I'm overwhelmed, and just the fact that I'm saying I'm overwhelmed stresses me even further. The best thing to do when I feel overwhelmed, I usually stops. I go for a glass of water, and then again I go for a little walk. Usually that allows me to um, decrease the overwhelming sense of stress. Sometimes what I do a list of what I have to do. So the reason that you're overwhelmed, sometimes there's like 5 or 6 things competing for your attention in your brain. And by making a list, it allows you to take it out of your brain. And then you say, okay, let's say there's 6 situations. Do you have to do all of them? If it happens that there are two that are maybe important but not useful for your goal, then you can put those aside and then you can focus on 4 only. Then again, stresses goes down, and then you take the first one and then you achieve it, then you go to the next one, then you focus on one thing at a time, and I find that it's going well. Another one that a negative trigger point I have is to be peopled out. I'm a bit of an introvert. I'm a big one, actually. So when I'm around people a lot for a long time, it takes energy out. And often the best way for me to feel better is to in my car and go for a car ride. There's a few things. First, in my car, I'm alone. Second, it allows me to change my mind because I see a car as being a 360-degree a monitor where I see things from coming from all angles. I see the sun, I feel better, and I can move forward. And then I can tell those positive trigger words I have. For example, oh, that's excellent. Let's see what I can do. Or how does it work to make sure that, okay, there's something I need to learn to make sure I do it nicer and faster. Or other one, for example, we do hard thing like Evan Carmichael. Um, and something that I wrote here, and as I mentioned, this is Evan's book, and as I read a book, I always take note. And I wrote at the bottom here that sometimes we need to improve our human operating system. And I'm not sure if it was in the text here or it's a video or something that I heard during that day. But in some ways, we all have an operating system. An operating system that could be going on overdrive. Some of ours could be tired, slow. Some others can be full of bugs and therefore operating system not working very much. Take, for example, a software that needs new updates to take care of the operating system. Same thing with here. If you see your mind as an operating system, sometimes you need to reboot. Sometimes you need to have some command words or trigger words, bigger trigger words, so that you say, okay, I am wiring my thinking. I am intentionally working on my operating system to make sure that I can do bigger and better things. So I think it's quite an interesting analogy. So here you can see in Evan's book, he had a page here. You do scary, you chase difficult, and you embrace hard. Some of the example here that I had was, for example, sometimes when we feel that we do scary thing, the first thing to do is take action. And once you take action, then my point here is that by taking action, you are creating movement, and then it allows you to have beautiful small successes. Because once you have small successes, then you can build your confidence. Even if there's a few things that doesn't work, building confidence through action is amazing. And the other one is once you build confidence, you realize that you can help yourself, but also others. Because the more confidence you have, the more you can help others. And in which case, you can build momentum. So if you take the title of the book here, which is Momentum, the whole thing is about this. You take action so that you can increase your confidence by doing and by having motions. Third, you can help more people, and at the same time, you build momentum. And guess what? That gives you momentum and learning so that you can go to the next step and evolve towards your main goal, towards where your mission and what you'd like to do. So these are all kind of fun. And here I have highlighted on one of the page right here that I really need to stop putting the brake. I don't know if it's like me, but every so often you have ideas and then you start and then you say, oh, it's going to take more time than I expected. I'm going to step back. Or, oh, it's going to cost me some money. I need to step back. Or I don't know how to do this. Therefore, maybe I should not start. too often we put the brakes on. And that's why we need to have play bigger trigger words. Because once you have play bigger trigger words, even though you have this idea that in some ways your mind is putting the brakes on what you want to do, at the same time, you will reinforce the fact that you can do it and make sure that you have the confidence to move forward. Keep in mind, we are working with an operating system and we can certainly ourselves program it. And here, I mentioned here that our mind wants to keep us safe. And that's why we can't expect to do different if we keep doing the same thing. So here, we need to make sure that sometimes you say, well, I don't have a bigger trigger word. Okay, so then you have to create one. Mine is, oh, that's excellent. Evan is, oh, that's the best. Or people say, oh, let's fail forward. Try to find an expression that works for you, that makes you feel comfortable and makes you feel okay. Even if something happens, I can certainly make things better. So on this, I want you to, if you have a chance, to write in the comments below, what is your play bigger trigger words, so that we can learn from you and we can all together as a community do bigger, better, and even bigger things. I believe in you. My second topic I want to talk today is about the boom, boom, boom test. That's the test where when you encounter a situation or you have an opportunity and your heartbeat starts pounding. Now, you have to be mindful that this is excitement that you are feeling. And you have to say, okay, if you feel excited, how about you try to see what you can learn from it? Now, you have to keep in mind that some of you says, well, the boom, boom, boom test could be about the fact that I'm anxious and I don't know what I should do. Now, let's think about that. So think about it. If you are in a situation and your heart starts beating, that's maybe there's some sweating happening, your palm gets all wet, and then you're not quite sure what's the next step. Well, if you think about it, this body response is a response to either excitement or anxiety. And this is something that is interesting because you can lean towards the anxiety and then not start anything, or you can lean towards the excitement and then do something exciting and you don't know where this will lead you. Now, you have to keep in mind, though, that your safety needs to be taken into account. If you feel there's a boom, your heart starts beating because you're in a situation where your safety is at risk, do not do anything that could go wrong and could be bad for you. On the other hand, if it's an opportunity, something that could be a solution where you can learn, when you can grow, I think it's worth trying. Let's see what note I have here. So Evan, for his mindset shift number 6, it's called the boom, boom, boom test. Mine is the following. It's my excitement voice that wants to speak. And the beauty of that is that you all know when something happens. You meet a new person. You are going to a new restaurant. You are going to a new class, for example. You have a new client. You have a new product you can propose. These are all things that are exciting, and it's worth investigating. And sometimes I feel that there's a boom boom test where when I think of social media, it's hard for me because I get all excited, but I don't always have the time to do so. And the note I have here is the following. There's a difference between the boom 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 test where you are excited because of the unknown, or the fact that you feel that you are not able to keep up with what needs to happen. That's something you need to keep in mind, because if it's something that need to happen and you cannot keep up with, maybe it's time for you to grow your team. So on this, I'm going to put here a link to 2 things. One is a video on one side, video about that would interest you. The other one will be a link to the playlist of our milestone journey. I can't wait to see you in the next video.